So I got an email the other day asking me from one of my subscribers if I'd seen this movie. I'd never even heard of it before, but when I looked into it, I found out that it revolves around a Filipino tree creature that lives inside a bed filled with sperm-ish looking material that eats men and impregnates women. So I'm like, what? Okay, I'll give this one a go. Hey guys, welcome to Happywax TV. So yeah, to say I was intrigued about this movie would be an understatement. I'd never even heard of it before. I had a subscriber message me and asked me if I'd seen it and if I could talk about it, and I was like, absolutely. It's a creature feature. And I'd never even heard of it before, so yeah, I'm gonna fucking talk about it. So I rented it yesterday, sat down and watched it, and yeah, I mean, this movie, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like right on the cusp, you know what I mean? It could have been something really, really good, and in some people's eyes, it might be something really, really bad, and I'll get into that as to why. But for me, I'm kind of right in the middle with this one, okay? Because it did have a lot of potential if you look into the movie and see what's actually, you know, in the camera lens. So to give it a rating right off the hop, I would give this like a 5.5 out of 10. Okay, it definitely could have been a lot better. But again, if you go on the rating of IMDb, as of this review, there's 50 votes. And 18 fucking bozos have given this a 1. Okay, well, I'm telling you straight up. Okay, if you watch my channel, I'll never lie to you and I'll give you my God honest opinion. No matter what you think, 99% of the time, I'm fucking always right, okay? So, and I'm right about this movie being right in the middle, okay? And to these idiots that gave it a 1, like, fuck off. Like, it's not a 1, and it's sad because it drops this movie down right now. It's sitting at a rating of 3.5, and it's not. It's higher than that. I would say give it a watch. It's just, you know, there's a lot of mystery involving this movie, and it's not a good mystery. It's if there's one thing that detracts from this film, it's lazily written, and that's the unfortunate part, because this is a low budget horror movie, okay? But there is a ton of good stuff in this movie, and we'll get into it. Let me get through the meat here first, though. So it's directed by Bradley Liu. It's also written by Bradley Liu and Bianca Balbuna, I think that's how you say him. I apologize if I screwed it up. It stars very small cast. JC Santos plays JC. His father is played by Jan Bevo. And then Agat is Isdro, is Angela. And then there's another woman in this movie, Kathy, played by Talia Zucker. So basically what this movie is Jan Bevo's character, father, has this hotel, okay? It's somewhere in Canada. They don't really say where, but what he does is and it's a bunker style hotel, and it's cool. The set pieces in this movie are banging, okay? So, but what he does is he houses illegal immigrants as they come in, you know, illegally, and they come to this hotel first, and then he's to get him set up, okay? Well, this movie has a lot of fiction behind it, okay? So we're never really told where it is, or even, like, it's in Canada somewhere, but we're never told where, okay? So it makes us Canadians look bad because of what goes on in this hotel. But the government, and they never really say which government, they just say a government, you know, wants to dispose of these immigrants as they come in, okay? And by dispose of, I mean kill. So what is in this hotel, okay, is this fucking Filipino tree creature, okay? And it lives in this fucking bed, okay, and it's in the trailer, it's in this fucking bed, in this room, okay, and it's got this milky, kind of a sperm-like substance on it, okay, and it eats men, and it will impregnate women, okay, and that's all the background we're given on this. I think it's called Acacia. It's a Filipino tree creature, and I believe it's called Acacia or Cache. I'm not really sure. There's not a lot of background given on actually any of this movie, to be honest with you. And that's the one thing that lacks from this. We're not really given a background on this creature. In fact, I had to do some research on to find out what it was called and even what the fuck it was, because they really don't talk about it or where it even comes from, really, unless you do your research after the fact, which, you know, honestly, a lot of people aren't going to do. That's why they come, you know, to channels like this. So yeah, these immigrants come in, And then, yeah, they're you know, put in this room, the male immigrants, and this creature fucking eats them when they sit on this bed. That's the whole fucking gist of this movie. The son comes in, JC, and again, we're given no background on him either, or hardly any. Okay, and he comes to this hotel because he's supposed to be taking it over. And then it just his father kind of grooming him, right? And you know, he jumps right into it too, because in the first act of this movie, he goes to the hotel, he meets his father, who, just given by the way they're talking to each other, haven't seen either of each other in years and years, or even since he was a kid. And then the father is grooming him on how to dispose of these immigrants when they come in. And he sees in the first act, he sees this creature, you know, dispose of this one fella who sits on this bed and gets eaten, right? And I'm thinking, okay, whatever, I'll be forgiving, because again, you need some sort of a background, and it's just not here. Like, it's a fictitious building, okay? And I don't think they ever say that it's in Canada. I was just doing some, you know, research on this, and I found one person that had mentioned that this hotel is in Canada, right? But there's no mention of it. There's no mention of where who the government is. There's no background on the father. There's no background on the son, and there's no background or even a name drop of what this creature is. So unless you go hunting after the fact, you're gonna be sitting there wondering, like, where does all this fucking come from? And that was the issue with me when I was watching this, until I researched it after. And like I said earlier, a lot of people aren't going to do that, which is why this movie has like a lower rating. But it's deserved, okay, because there is lack of info, because it's lazily written. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of effort to throw this stuff in your movie, even if it's just through conversation. I mean, we don't need video proof of where this creature comes. Just have it in a conversation, and it's not in this movie. So that is the big detractor in this film, and it's going to hurt it. Now, the things that I did like about this movie, okay, the acting is fairly good, okay, but the practical in this movie, and again, you have to go into this movie knowing it's low budget. I don't know the exact budget, but it's not a huge budget, okay, but it's like 95% practical. There's very little CGI, and all the practical effects and the creature effects are in camera, right? Like and that was awesome, because you don't see that a lot anymore, especially in lower budget horror movies. Well, you do for some, but for the large part, they try and cheap out and go the CGI route. And they didn't do it in this movie, and I respect them for that. The bed that this creature lives in is killer. You know what I mean? And it's all fucking practical, and you can tell by the way it moves that it's puppetry. You know what I mean? And it was awesome. And even the creature itself, you know, we only get small glimpses of it. Like, it is in this, and there is reveals, and you do get to see it. In fact, they even show a glimpse of it in the trailer. But there's different stages. There's like the baby tree creature, kind of like Groot. You know what I mean? And then there's like the adult one as it grows, which is kind of cool too. Now, I'll be honest, I did want more of this, but again, I mean, I don't know what size budget they had to work with, but I can't see it being overly huge. So, I mean, it's one of these movies where they tried their best, you know what I mean? And in some people's eyes, it's going to be a fail. In other people's eyes, it's going to be okay, right? And again, I'm right on the midpoint of this movie, but I do respect the practical that it's in this movie, because God, honestly, I love practical effects. The creature looked cool, and the set pieces in this. Now, I don't know if this motel is an actual place or this bunker. It was shot in, I believe it was Malaysia and Slovenia, I think. So, I mean, Slovenia has awesome old buildings, and I'm assuming Malaysia does too, you know what I mean? Because there are some pretty cool movies that come from both places, and the sets on those movies are fantastic, and that's the same with this movie. The inside of this motel, it's pretty barren, right? But just the look of this bunker-style motel is pretty awesome looking, and it does add to the character of the movie. So it's just the way it was written. It's kind of lazily, and you know, there's not a lot of answers. And again, I don't want stuff spoon-fed to me. I mean, I like to think through a movie and come up with my own conclusions. But when you're not giving us anything, it is a little detracting, okay? Like, there's questions asked in this movie. Like, the son even asked the father, like, where'd this motel come from? And I believe his answer was, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And that's it. We don't have any background as to why he you know, or how he got into this position. You know, And the big thing for me is there's no background on the creature. So if you don't do your own research, you won't know, which again is probably why a lot of people, you know, are on the lower spectrum of liking this movie. But I'm going to tell you, it's not a fucking 1. Okay, I've seen movies that are 1, and this one's way better than that. So again, rating, I give it a 5.5. It's out now. If you've seen it, let me know what you guys think of this one. Again, it's called Motel Acacia, and you can rent it on YouTube. That's where I rented it from. I think it was like $5.99, but it's on all video platforms. But give it a watch. Let me know what you think. Again, this is just my opinion. It's not, I don't know if you would call it a review, but anyways, I had a sub want me to talk about it, and I am. And again, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. It could have been way better. I think the writing needed to be a little bit better on that, and I think that's what really kind of held this movie back. So anyways, Motel Acacia, it's out now. If you've seen it, let me know what you think, and if you haven't, go rent it and then come back and give me your opinion on it, guys. And until next time, stay scared.